I'm not. I do think when you were going over like, oh, the pitching is a bit shaky, and I remember like the first couple of weeks when Kenta Maeda was still on the team, and that was like literally the only like bad player on the roster, and like I can't remember who said it, but somebody said, "I wish the worst problem on our team was the mop up. Was the last guy in the bullpen."
Yeah.
And that's
I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. So you guys for a few weeks ago were talking about like media and fans for the fan bases. Detroit fans have this thing where they cannot be happy unless they're mad about something. Like, oh, Pistons go on a run and make the playoffs. Cade Cunningham isn't throwing enough threes. Lions are 15-2. Well, we didn't score enough, and it's we only won by 17. Stuff like that. It's
Joe
annoying.
Mauer doesn't hit enough home runs.
Yeah, we
Johan
always have to find
Santana gives
something
up
to
too
be
many. Like, there's a. I mean,
yeah, we always have to find something to be upset about. I think partially because the past 10 years of sports have just been mediocre to bad, but it's also really annoying when there we have the best record in baseball, we're leading the division by 9 and everyone's freaking out because we lost
right.
3 in a row. It's like calm down. The Yankees just lost 7 in a row. The Mets are 1-9 in the past 10. Like good teams have bad stretches and we're playing 500. It's not bad. So, anyways.
The Chiefs didn't get the three-peat.
Yeah. And like it's fine. Like sports in general, especially like the national media wants to be like they get more clicks, and it's much more trendy to be negative. And baseball is the sport that doesn't trend to hot takes, or it takes it to it the least. So like I don't know. I always every fan base is like that, and it's probably because
Yeah.
most of baseball fans are also football fans, and football, if you go 0-3, yeah, that's real bad to start. But baseball, you do this crap every day, as Rocco Baldelli likes to say. But
Yeah.
Do you really think someone would do that, Eric? Just go on the internet and be negative?
I can't think of a single example. I'm speaking that into existence. That's what's happening.
A couple of years ago, so sorry to go back into, but so in 2022, the Lions started off 1-7, and then they went and ended the season 9-8. And Jared Goff, quarterback for the Lions, he said that Detroit media is so negative when the Lions started winning. It's like they didn't know how to respond to that, so everything got quiet.
We talked about it briefly a couple of weeks ago, but like the the negative things that kind of like bother us is like from our fan bases. And like that's I think that's true for everyone. And I think that's part like a defensive mechanism because you don't want to care too much because then the disappointment hits twice as much. And in baseball, you're going to fail. So like it's much easier just to say, we're gonna suck. I expect us to suck. I don't want to believe them. I don't want to hear otherwise because then I have to care and I don't want to have my heart broken. But Dan, I don't know what your thoughts on because I don't think
Also,
you missed that one.
I think that's probably right. And but the issue for me is that's such a cop out in a way because you can, no pain if you assume things are going to go bad and then they do. You can go, I told you so. I told you it was going to, we were going to go 0-17, or I told you we were going to get swept by whoever. And then you get to be all on your high horse about being right, about being cynical, which this is fun, man. This is a children's game we're playing
Yeah.
that we're watching. Like, I don't want to live that way. Last year, the Guardians probably punched a little over their weight class last year. But to make the ALCS, to have a fun summer like that, yeah, they didn't win the big trophy at the end. But I had fun, man. Like, that's. I think I said it last week. There are very few things better than summer and your baseball team is really good. Like, there's something to look forward to every day. And that's not, only one team gets the trophy at the end. Enjoy it anyway. Same deal with the Cavs this year.
That doesn't mean that 29 teams failed. Just because you didn't win doesn't mean the season was a failure.
I want to go back to the cynical thing for just a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
Because in sports, the easiest thing for you to do is to crap on everything. if the manager is always terrible, well, guess what? Eventually that manager is going to be fired and you're going to go, see, told you 5 years ago. Doesn't matter if he won 3 World Series. He was crap from the first day they hired him. I knew it. Look how correct I am. Or once they sign the big free agent, oh, that guy's going to be a bust. Well, by the time he's 39 years old and the highest got paid guy on the team, yeah, he is going to be a bust. And you can say, oop, I told you again, what a genius I am. Look at me, everyone. I could play
It's
GM
totally.
for a day.
And it's one thing if you act in good faith with that sort of thing. Like if the Guards signed a free agent that I thought was going to be a poor decision 5 years down the line, I would make that known. I think of this town 12 years ago loved the idea of signing Nick Swisher. And I was like, that's not going to go well. Like that guy is going to flame out in the back half. And I was right. But if they make that's the thing though, is you got to act. I don't do that for everything all the time. Some people out there are just, they're waiting for the shoe to drop no matter what, you know.
They want
It's
to be
frustrating.
correct.
Yeah, at
And-
the end of
Go ahead, Liz.
last season, when the Tigers go on a miracle run, sweep the Astros in the playoffs, and take it to Game 5 of the ALDS, 3 days later, was a bunch of people going, "Oh, they're not going to do anything in the off season. They're going to sit there and find some 35-year-old pitcher and a couple of relievers, and then they're going to go and be below 500 again." I'm like, God damn it! Can't you just enjoy this for like a week?
So I might ruffle feathers with this part, but I think it's similar. If you want to say that I'm going to talk for all of us for a second, that our small to medium market owners are cheap, I get it. They probably kind of are. But for that to be your whole sports fan personality is just to complain about the owner all the time and nothing's ever good because the owner doesn't spend. Again, I brought this up once a long time ago. Well, not can't be that long. We haven't been doing this that long. But
Episode
I made a
17.
statement at one point, and Eric, you went like, Dan, it's different from you. Cleveland runs a good organization, and the stuff they do is probably going to work out a lot of the time. But so maybe my perspective is a little different. But to me, that's just, yes, the Dolans could spend more. But this is really hard. Like, the Dodgers are going to be allowed to spend you no matter what anyway. You got to be creative, even if you do spend more.
Yeah,
So-
they're getting $1 billion from Japan. You can't
Yes.
beat that. It's
Right.
like, let's not try and compare to the market of New York and LA plus the entire country
So
of Japan.
if you want to lament that you can't sign a couple more extra free agents, I totally understand that. But just for that to be your whole thesis for your fandom is just ridiculous. Enjoy the damn game. Like,
Right. And like, as the anti-owner guy whose team just apparently, like, if anyone hadn't heard, the Rays just sold for, oh, what's that? 1.7 billion last week.
no kidding. I didn't know that.
Weird. What are the Twins trying to sell their team for? I don't know. We'll see. But as the stated anti-ownership guy, it's one aspect of the team. And the poll ads, as much as I don't like them, and would love a new ownership to come in, it's one aspect. And they do hire guys and let them do their job, which is great. That's what you want for an owner. Unless, like, I don't want a George Steinbrenner. That would drive me effing insane.
Mhm.
But the Twins generally do have to draft well. I'm not asking for these owners to spend $300 million or $200 million. If you are the 15th biggest market in the U.S. or in baseball, be the 15th payroll.
Yeah.
That to me, I think, is completely fair. And yes, I am. If those who have listened to Twins podcast and you're listening to Gleeman and the Geek, I'm taking that directly from Aaron Gleeman because that's an excellent effing point. I think that's a realistic avenue to take. But if you're looking like Cleveland, like, yes, they develop well. Yes, they do a lot of things well. But they can also, like, there's a lot of, well, we don't need to spend money because we draft well.
Mhm.
Well, you can do both.
Yeah. Well,
Not
the
to
comeback to that is always, well, you have this great core of young players. Imagine if you added a couple vets that were
Yes.
quality. Like, and I get that. Like, I get. I'm not saying that wouldn't be a good thing. I get frustrated when you're not you, Eric. People as a
Taking
whole,
The royal you.
like that's the entirety of their knowledge base for how they perceive a team.
And that's such like such crap radio show
Yeah.
talk. And
'Cause
like
it's so
that
easy.
bothers me.
Like if you're
Yeah.
the fifth in spending, you can always go, well, why aren't they third in spending?
Right.
Mhm.
You can always there's always, oh, we didn't sign this guy. We are too cheap. It's just the easy way out for everything.
At
Well,
the
and
end of the go ahead,
I
Sam.
think part of it is it's a lot easier to do that in baseball just because money works a lot differently in baseball than it does especially in the NFL and in the NBA. And I think, as I've said in previous conversations, I think there are a lot of teams who are right now saying the new collective bargaining agreement is going to save us. There are also a lot of fans who are saying right now the new collective bargaining agreement is going to save us. And I think there will be some I think there will be some leveling of the field in the new collective bargaining agreement financially, but it's not going to get to the point like in the NFL where every team is, capable of signing any player.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like
I mean-
there's if you just looking at like money that teams will get from media and just the markets there is no way the market of Cincinnati or Kansas City can compete with New York or
Right.
Los Angeles. Like it's just not going to happen.
And like I know we're really kind of deviating off from our main point here, but if there's the parity in the NFL because they have a salary cap, that's because the talent, like, it's easier to look at an NFL or an NBA matchup and see who the best players are and say this team is clearly the better team. They're going to win this by 2 touchdowns or by 15 points. In baseball, if you're going to gamble, the most likely outcome is the best team wins 2 out of 3. The second most likely outcome of a 3-game series is the worst team wins 2 out of 3. It's a crapshoot. When you go into the playoffs, it's the same thing. Like,
because you can take any team and get their best pitchers and you can take the worst team with their best pitching and put it up against the best team with their worst pitching, and the worst team will win because of like the pitching matchups work out that way.
To this point, the NBA is driven by stars because that guy can hold the ball for 90%. Nobody ever does except for maybe James Harden, but they can hold the ball for like 90% of the time and just dominate the game. Football, obviously, there's like a position in the game that's the most important in the quarterback, where if you've got a good quarterback, your chances of winning go up exponentially. Again, Cleveland's looking for QB1. Don't know much about that. But with baseball, you get 9 guys. They bat in order.
Yep.
You can't in the 9th inning, you can't have your best hitter go up the way you could throw the ball to Nikola Jokic every time down the floor. And additionally, the one guy that could be that star that could carry you would be the starting pitcher. And those dudes are throwing less and less year by year.
Yep.
And they
So
only
it's
throw
just
8 innings in 5 games. Maybe.
yes. So that's purely, there's a lot more variation possible, and that leads to what you guys are talking about. Just at face value.
The star batter only comes up to bat 4, maybe 5 times. They're only on the field for a 9th.
And of those 4 or 5 times, they're only going to get 1 or 2 hits, most likely. So, and not, just to bring it all around, if you're going to complain, enjoy the ride, like Dan was saying. Like, stop taking the low hanging. I get whatever. Cheer however you want to cheer. It's your fandomship. But like, if you're not going to enjoy the ride, why are you watching sports in general? Unless you're miserable in your life and you just want to make other people miserable doing something while they watch something they also enjoy. And that bothers me a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Scott Harris and Illich got a lot of crap in this offseason because we didn't add much. We only added Gleyber Torres on offense, blah, blah, blah. We have the best record in baseball. Like, it was that Gleyber Torres signing was a very good signing, and a lot of people did not like that signing.
Yeah.
But like even if you're not working with the largest budget in the world, use it smart. Make the right decisions. You know, it's
That's what it comes.
people are
Whatever
the number
decision, whatever your team decides to do, it better be good at it. If you're going to spend $400 million on your payroll, you better pick the right $400 million to spend. If you're going to spend on draft picks and trades, you better trade for the right guys and you better send the right guys out. If you can't do that, you suck at your job and will be fired.
Like the Dodgers winning because they have $1 billion and they gave a bunch of pitchers $1 billion. They have a bunch of pitchers $1 billion who all get injured all the time.
Right.
And they have like 17 injured pitchers right now.
But let's talk about that for a minute. Yes, the Dodgers spend a crap ton of money. They're also a really, really well-run organization. Like Andrew Freeman came from Tampa, where he was incredible there, making something out of nothing. And everything you heard about this past World Series was how prepared the Dodgers were for the Yankees. And scouting, player development, the whole thing. Yes, they spend a lot of money. That's not all they do over there. It's
right.
Know what you're good at and be good at it. It was
Their
what Eric
drafting
was
and
saying.
development has been top notch for decades?
Well, guess what? They're good at everything. So they are going to be really good for a long time, not just because they're spending, but because they're good at everything.
Well, I don't even think it's debatable. They're the best run team in baseball. And I think there's a large gap between the second. Because I don't the Rays are probably, but they don't have the payroll.
By the way,
go ahead.
The Rays are playing in a minor league ballpark. I don't think we should get. I think we should knock them down a little bit for that.
And by the way, they spend a lot of money. But guess what makes free agents want to come to your team in the first place? You run an organization really well, and you have a chance to win.
And you live in California, where you can get
benefits.
That does
Great point.